Welkom bij de Software Captains podcast. Software Captains inspireert CTO's en engineering managers. We helpen hen te groeien in hun job. In de Software Captains podcast laten we CTO's en mensen die met CTO's werken aan het woord over de uitdagingen die een CTO tegenkomt. Veel luisterplezier. Hi Martin van Aken. Hi, welcome in the Software Captains podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I think we have a very interesting subject, and we're going to talk about some things that a lot of CTOs are going to be confronted with sooner or later in their career. So I'm happy you want to participate in the podcast. Let's start with the first question. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Martin. I'm 46 years old. That may become sort of important in the following part. I'm living in Brussels with my partner and my 2 kids. But speaking of software, like many people in the industry, I didn't study computing science. So I actually majored as an economist. And through what I call a good series of successful accidents, I end up doing my whole career in software development, which means that I'm totally unemployable as an economist because I never worked as one. I still like the study I did 20-ish years ago. And so, I'm supposed to talk back in detail, but I made a career in software with doing, at this time, I can say pretty much every single role you can have in a software department or team or even company. So going from junior developer to founder, to technical advisor, and a lot of time as a technical team lead or something like that, which is something I've been gravitated a lot around.
Okay. So in one stage of your career, you became a CTO. I think it was for, what was the company again? Sorry, it slips my mind.
It was, I think the formal title comes with Blue Square, which is a scale-up in Brussels, active in public health. So in a nutshell, making the software to support big health programs that are typically made, take an example, by the World Bank to fund a health program, let's say in a poor country, generally, let's say Democratic Republic of Congo, where they put a lot of money, and the World Bank want to know where the money is going and how it's used. And if you're talking about not 20 health centers, but like 20,000 health centers, you are outside of let's do it on Excel. So you need software, and that is what Blue Square specialized in. And the fun part is that I joined that company like a former student of me. I teach a bit. I used to teach a bit at Le Wagon, a boot camp, and a former student of mine called me one day saying, "Hey Martin, we're doing this first software in Ruby. We could use some senior help. Do you have some time?" And so I met his team lead at the time. And we agreed something such as, yes, I can come there 2 days a week for a couple of months just to bring a bit seniority and help a bit with getting that started. And one thing leading to another, I was there for 5 years and I took over the whole software department. It's that suddenly it has been 5 years and a good amount of work there. Because the company needed it, and on my side, I really like what they were doing. And to quote a colleague of mine, everything had to be done. The situation where we have something I call young and very motivated, smart people doing everything wrong, not because they are stupid, but because they never saw a well-functioning software team before. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't, it's very difficult to create that from first principles. Most thing I learned about how to run a team, I learned by looking at things and thinking, oh, I would never thought about that. And that's a stupid idea. Or I would never thought about that. And that looks really good. I should do that more. So these kind of things. And so indeed, I get there with being the lead developer and progressively helping hiring other people. And when you end up with 20 people, you probably are more CTO than anything else. And I had the title by the time.
Okay. So that was also a question. How did you become a CTO? It's just you evolved with the company? And
I was already experienced with being what I call a team lead, which is usually in bigger company where you're managing. Where I started working in a company, it was pretty much my first software development job. I worked for one of the little cogs in the very complicated Belgian social security system. That's still by far the biggest and most complex software I've ever seen. Like it's incredibly big. And well, it has its own, but that's worth 40 minutes on itself, so I won't go there. And there I was in a team, I was the young guy coming there, and in a, I don't know, in a weird way, in a couple of months, people starting to stop at my desk to ask questions, depending on what. And at some point, my management sort of put a title on something that was a situation that was a reality since months, which is there was calling the shot in the technical part of the team. And I get there, and so that was already something I was used to. I think part of the reason is that I'm a decent developer, but I'm also an extrovert. The combination is not that usual, which means
Nope.
that I'm exactly thinking, why did I become team lead? I'm the guy that's speaking generally, and that helps a lot. I like it. I like to speak with stakeholder. I can manage speaking with management. I generally get myself understood. And I think that was a big amount of things. I hope I was also decent on the technical side, but I mean, it's not only the technical side. So that was the first experience. And so I did that for years. And when I was at Blue Square, it was pretty much that. There was at the time someone in place, but what was more a non-coding manager. And so when I arrived there, that means that I was more senior than the people there by a significant amount in time and in experience. And so, yeah, in I don't know, in 6 months, I had pretty much the whole technical work mostly under my my part. I like to say that I came there and I looked around and I decided to try to, it's a bit the freelance point of view. I try to push the maximum of value where I can. And that means filling the holes when I find them, helping people when I think it was important, especially when you're working for a non-coding person. You cannot really ask them where the value is. You can ask what their goals are, that's important. But if you ask them, what should I do? That's probably a bad question. It's probably, okay, no, I know what are your goals. I'm going to figure out where I can spend my horse for this to happen. And this ended up being leading the team mostly. And at the time, there was a need for a CTO, also on paper and not only situation. And I took the job. But indeed, it wasn't my first time leading a team, so I had already some experience with that. It's still a very different job than just leading a team among others. Like the responsibility are very different. I think it's a much more complicated job, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you touched on a very important difference, is that you should be able to work and communicate with non-technical people even more than in your job as a developer. You should be able to explain technical stuff to non-technical peers, in fact.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I think that's required for a senior developer. I couldn't work with a senior developer. I say, if you cannot explain why what you do is important to a stakeholder without putting technical things, the problem is not that he doesn't understand. The problem is that you're not explaining yourself. It's one of the examples, it's on Power, sorry, but it's like when they said at some point, when you have to advocate for code quality, the only good line of thinking is economics. And it's right. If you cannot explain why what you do in doing a refactor is making the company lose less money or make more money, don't do it. Then why? It has to have a consequence. Else, it's not. We're not doing that for the sake of it. Or, damn it, we shouldn't. Like, we do it once in a while, but we shouldn't. So, yeah, it's clearly that part about, and it's not only being able to, it's also that I realize now in my career, I have that situation with a couple of colleagues, even where I'm working right now. They understand that game. They just prefer me to play it than them.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's also important.
You know what? I could do it. I just don't like it. Well, that's a valid point. Then you find a situation where you may be a senior developer, but there's someone like me that's taking 80% of the blunt of the product management stakeholder part, and you can focus on high-level, complicated technical tasks, and we are generally both happy. So life's good. So, but on my side, I was okay to take that. I was quite curious, to be honest. So,
right. When you were a CTO, what did you like about the job?
I think it's it's the same thing as a technical team lead, but with a different kind of degree, which is that it's really putting together a machine, which is your team, and achieving results together. So it's that suddenly your work is not really anymore in production itself, it's making sure the production machine works. And that means a lot of things, and generally the most important thing for me, generally, it's going in a good direction. Before even checking that it's actually going fast, I'm still convinced we lose more money in software by doing the wrong thing than doing the thing wrong. Like both can happen, but companies die because they do something no one wants, not because they do a software that everyone wants, which is technically shitty. That's a problem you can solve by just throwing money at it. Like hire good people, they are going to fix it. It's going to cost money. Yeah, that's what. That's the way the world works. But it's not a huge issue. And so I generally work a lot initially to, it's a big word, but alignment, making sure that what we work on is what the company needs. And it's a complicated thing, generally speaking, because, well, company doesn't say what they need, or not in words that can be understood by mere mortals like me, generally speaking. And yeah, on the software, you have, when you arrive and there is no clear process or so, you have a lot of things going in every direction. You have a big asymmetry of information, but that goes in both directions. Like, no, both group knows important things, but not the same. And so it's really like a big amount of work there. But the satisfaction is real when you realize, okay, we put together a good release. I may not have written a single line of code of it, of a very limited amount, but I put everyone in the situation where they can work, which can be a combination of training, of organization, of also saying, getting the people to the job they can do, being clear about what they need to do, and then get back to your seat, let them work, and make sure that no one else than me can interrupt them. And on my side, trying hard not to. And then you say, hey, what's happening there? Yeah, we're working on a hard problem. Where are we? Bob is on it. And where is he with that? I don't know. He'll come back to me when he's done. There is no point about me binging about, hey, Bob, how is that going? That's not going to get anything forward. So, and that's a part of being the leader I wanted to have. Like we all have stories of manager getting on our back when we're busy. I'm trying not to. And so that's, yeah, the idea of creating a team or making a team work, that's a huge amount of satisfaction. It's something I really like when you can achieve results together. You get the scale.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice. But there are also parts that you didn't like as much.
Oh, yeah.
What were those?
No, that was really fun. But something which is different between working with people mostly and working with software is that all the victories are gray area. You make progress, but it's very nuanced. On software, in a way, it doesn't work and it's very frustrating. Or it works. And in a way, you get a clear, evident success that something that wasn't there on the morning is there on the evening. There is something which is almost akin to painting or something like that. That is, the wall was crappy this morning and now it's white, and maybe it's me that done it, so it's not perfect, but it's there and it's evident progress that not this part is done. With a team, you're like making adjustment on a running car, different places. Some of them will work and it will be evident immediately. Some of them will work and you only know 2 years if you do. Some of them you'll never exactly know. It looks like a good idea. Whether it did generate actual benefits will stay unclear even after a couple of years. People looks to be happier, yeah, because of that or because of other stuff. They are happier, yeah. Is that converting into something more efficient? Because why I like working with happy people, my job is to make the company run, which may be slightly different things. So there is a lot of gray area, and I won't say there's a lot of meetings. I have nothing about talking with people. I think it's super important. I think the word has become something like a swear word, and I don't understand why. Like it's, I take a lot of time aligning stuff. Yeah, I think it's good. One of my colleagues said at some point, oh, this is taking time. Yeah, it's not the coding, it's the talking. But that wasn't an accusation or an insult or a problem. Is that I need to make sure that what we are doing is really what we want. And that will take the time that it needs, because it's not winning time to cut that out, code something and then realize it's not good. Right? It's not even not good. It's not what we wanted. But there is a lot of meeting which become at the level of indirection where I was starting to lose focus. How does that really help? I had a moment of clarity. I was already questioning my job a lot, but when a discussion with another company to make a partnership to work together into maybe something, and I realize what I am doing here. And it's not that this meeting is not important, it's probably important, but I'm bored to death and I need to make that work because a person needs to make that work and I have the proper title and position to be that person. It's just that I realize that I dislike it. Yeah, there was this simple realization. And also, to be honest, managing people is tiring. Even good people, even if it works well, it's something that can get progressively, like we're all individuals. I'm not easy every morning to work with. People are people too. They have good and bad days, everything like that. Things can get conflictual, even between good people, setting aside anything about, this guy was an asshole. That's the easy situation. The person is really bad or really an asshole. Then you fire them, and honestly, you'll sleep, and it's not a big issue. The problem is firing the people who wasn't an asshole, but wasn't maybe not fast enough, or the one that could have worked well in a different environment, but where I had to say at some point, we get to a situation where I think we've both tried and we can't work together. And it's getting on my nerve, it's getting on your nerve. I can see it, and I think we're past the point about solving it. So we need to stop that because it's like it's getting really problematic for both of us and so for the company. Those are the bad part. I mean, there is that in the end, I like the part it's about people. Yeah, but the job is not just about the people. The first job is about making things work. And I've been working in what I call generally scarcity environment and startup. You always have too much work for the people that you have there. And so it's a puzzle that's impossible to win, generally speaking. And you make it the best you can. But that comes with trade-offs. And trade-offs when they are not about technical things, but human beings can be I like what I did. I think I had a decent role of it and a good success, including with my team. But there is something really, in French, I say usure. It's really tiring progressively. It gets, and I think that, it's something that I think the best article of that is Charity Major, The Pendulum and the Ladder, when she explained that idea that people see career as a ladder. You start by developer, then you get team lead, then you get CTO if you are there, and then I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, but anyway, I don't know what. She reflected on the pendulum, saying, okay, you can go back and forth between a technical position and a management position, and that's probably better. But there's a lot of good reason to do that, and there's a lot of reason it's not happening. Like in most companies. So it was really that, and the part I was missing the technical part. I like coding. So that was something I started to be missing. And I like coding, and when I like the team relationship, I find it funnier when I do them around technical stuff. I love coaching junior developer, so that's super useful. I learn a lot doing that. It's an incredibly, on the realization, it's a superb activity. Saying, okay, I help that person to get a bit further on their own path. Something super, I really like it a lot. And nice. I wasn't doing that anymore either, because I had a senior developer to do that on a daily basis. So I was joking at some point that some of my colleagues were sending me PR just to make me happy or something like that. Hey Martin, you still belong, no worries. You can do that code review.
So you were at the point that you weren't coaching technical people, but you were coaching people who were coaching technical people.
On the practical part, yes, I was mostly making sure if you are at 20 people, you cannot coach everyone. That means you have 5 or 6 senior people that can manage an area. And when you hire junior people, you tell them you're going to work with Sarah. You have question about code, you go to her. You have question about maybe where you go, past company, you go to me. And I'm there, and I'm always there. But the fact is, probably she will be better positioned to answer your question. She's just better at that game. And she's there every day on that part where I'm looking at code once in a while when I find time. So
all right.
So that's a bit indeed the difference.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. But there are other things that you didn't expect beforehand?
Being CTO?
Yeah.
Didn't expect. I think I'm someone which has a superpower of it not coming with expectation, which is interesting. Think the amount of stakeholder is interesting, and also being a relatively fast-paced, fast-growing startup come with a lot of trade-off. Project that you could say on a technical level, I wouldn't do that, but we are going to do them anyway, and I understand why. That's the reason I'm not the business person. It's that the conversation could happen. There was really they're all in the process to get an opinion, even if that opinion was not followed, which is part of the game. It shouldn't be followed each time. If it's never followed, then you have another kind of issue. Like it's normal that I find quite logical that the business drive the things. This is not a university research department. Those are companies. They are selling something one way or another, and they have to, else there is no company. So like it's still, software is still a means to an end. I still see the whole software department as a support function. It can be a strategic support function, but it's still the business that none of us are in the software business. Well, okay, if you're selling a software to developer, but that's a very specific. Yeah, if you're app signal, yeah, obviously you're into software. And so yeah, and those trade-offs were interesting, and having the combination of I don't know, maybe the CEO thinks one thing, you have a board that probably thinks something else or want to be informed, you have customer, and then you have a team. And it's a puzzle where you're missing a lot of pieces, because also the information is by far not complete. And so you organize it in the best way you can to manage the next, I'd say, 18 months, because after that, it's no one knows. So it's no point for the company. But then when you are growing, it put a lot of tension everywhere. Oh, new project, yeah, okay, but everyone is working already. So what do we put aside? All those trade-offs where at the end, you don't have a good solution for everyone. You'll have a loser somewhere. Maybe a project you want to invest as much as you can, and the customer may be unhappy about that. And in the end, it's going to be right. You cannot really tell them, yeah, we deprioritize your project because we had a bigger one, which was more important to your financial land. It's not something you say, but it's something that's happening. Companies that, in a way, that's logical. But I understand some of those trade-offs. I'm not sure I want the person doing them. It's like at some point I could live without doing that. So
okay. And is that then the reason that because we didn't talk about it yet, but at one point you decided I don't want to be a CTO anymore. It wasn't not. I don't think it was as much fun. I don't want to work for the company anymore. But it was really I don't want to have the job as CTO anymore.
Exactly.
What took you over the threshold there?
Yeah, I wanted to keep the function. I was pretty good in the company. Like if it was to continue being a CTO, I was like, I told that to a prospective client after saying, "Oh, we need a CTO." If I wanted a CTO position, I had in the company, was pretty happy with it. So yeah, it's a combination of wanting to go to the technical part back. Also, an idea that if I didn't do it now, it was going to become more and more complicated. And I live in a world where I think software development teams should be led by software developers. I know it's unusual in our industry, but I think it's good that development teams are led by people that understand software development. And it's in a weird way unusual. You have a lot of project managers managing technical teams without being technical themselves. And I think it's an issue. And you can say, yeah, okay, if I use it to code, yes, but if it was 10, 20 years ago, things start to be really, really old and so on. So I wanted to say, if I want to go back, it's probably good timing. And indeed, I wanted to do more technical work, again, more practical work, and to get a bit less of this never-ending little cogs in your head about how you are making your team and your organization works. Because it's also something I bring at home. I bring human issue at home much more than technical issue. I think that's very human, very normal. But when you're a CTO, you have mostly human issues. It's a bigger part of the job. So obviously you take a bigger part. So that was a combination of that and really saying, you know what, I'd like to do technical work again. I'd like to put some code in the morning. Okay.
And you already mentioned it, it will become more and more complicated over time. Did you experience it to be complex, to be complicated?
I think it's two levels. The first one was, am I able to do that again? And to be honest, I wasn't really afraid about the technical complexity, more the fact that something I had to learn about being a CTO, and which may not be a good thing to learn, is to work on 72 different things in the same day. Like I used to take that I was there to be interrupted, so my team wasn't. And yeah, I always a list which was pretty much never ending, changing quite fast. And moving there, okay, no, if someone leave me 4 hours to do something, is my mind still able, my brain to work that way? Because I trained it to work a totally different way for a while. Maybe I was there already, but I don't know. So it was that part. It was also, okay, get back to some coding. And also it was the job market part, which is, okay, what do I say to a prospective employer or client about why to hire someone like me, 42 at the time, or 40, no, 44 at the time, to do software development instead of a 28-year-old or something like that. Not someone just out of study, that's not the same, but someone with, let's say, 5 years of experience.
Yeah.
What do I say? And whether are they going to be interested by whatever I have to offer there? So that was a bit the question. No, mostly it was like the only way to know is to jump, knowing that it's a bit, it's the whole privilege of the industry coming back there. It's this worst case scenario. I can get any day as a technical team lead pretty much anywhere, and I'm going to work. That's something I've been doing so much that I can probably do it by my sleep or almost.
Yeah.
So, but I had really those questions about is it going to work and who is going to want to go with old-ish, industry. I mean, like instead of the other option, knowing that I was probably not going to be cheaper either. That wasn't the goal.
Yeah. And how did that turn out? Did you really encounter those how do you call it? Remarks from prospective employers?
No, not really. I encountered 20-year-old or old developer able to, I think, on the technical side, be as fast and as efficient as me. You have very fast person of that age, to be honest. And so it was more realizing that being a senior, at least at my ancient age, was not only about technical things. It was mostly not about technical things, I wouldn't say at all. You need to have this equivalent at least of this 5-10 year experienced person. If you don't, then there's another issue. But it's doing something else. And this something else is I realize that a lot of things you can learn by being a CTO or a manager are things that are super useful as you call an independent contributor or something like that, which is not a word that's used in my environment, but I know it from the US.
Individual contributor, I think it's.
Sorry?
I think they mean IC. It's individual contributor.
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah,
this idea of seniority, and it comes to a lot of way. It comes of things such as I can manage my manager, knowing that the person can be 10 years younger than me, which is not an issue on my side at all. If I wanted this job, I will have it. I had it, so it's okay. So it's not exactly an issue. But I understand their position, which means I can get a bit what's important, what's not. I can talk relatively easy in a language to understand. And it's a way where I don't need to be the team lead to be able to play a bit bridge and to appease frustration on both sides. Management is generally frustrated with the speed of development mostly. No, sometimes quality, mostly speed. And developer have an usual game of management doesn't understand why X or whatever. Let's make them know. Let's talk to them. Let's explain why it's an issue on us, and then let's try to. I don't need the staff of power to do that. I just need someone to talk to. And in a way, it's even better because I cannot force it. That's good. That means I need to convince both my team, my teammate, and both my management eventually to say, I think we should do it this way. I don't have the responsibility at the end. I can try to make it happen. So it's really, this capacity to talk, to understand why every single piece in the company is important. I had a small failure to do in a previous company after I moved to development. It was for the financial side of the company. They wanted better reporting. And so I take 2 hours, we discuss with the CFO about their need. I end up with a very clear vision, and she told me, oh, it's cool because you seem to understand what I do and why it's important. I say, I guess I think if we don't make money, I'm not getting paid. I don't think that's a super complicated equation. So I understand that someone needs to do that. And I understand it's important. And I understand financial stuff because, economist and stuff like that. So I'm not completely lost. That's the other part. But we are not there making code for code. That's okay. And so that was, obviously I was a bit joking, but that's the kind of thing which helped a lot. And I had generally good feedback from my management because, I can tell them I understand, and I can tell them that by being honest. I understand your situation. I've been in
of course.
And it's make it easier. And the last part is this idea about where is the value? It's okay if I'm there with this kind of seniority. I'm going to pick my own task mostly. Like, give me the direction and leave me focus about whatever I need to do. It's okay. I can make the conversion myself, probably better, and that helps a lot. Even in the end, when I'm facing my Visual Studio Code editor, I'm probably not that faster than this 30-year-old. I may in some situation, but I'm better about getting into a good context before getting there. But I'm sure that we are a good thing where, and I think that's valuable, and I think some manager can understand that.
Yeah, this is again the thing about doing the right things instead of doing the things right.
The thing right, mostly, it's that part, and and again, I can play a bit of alignment game. I don't need to be the boss for that. I can help two groups of people to talk a bit better together without having any kind of leadership position. It doesn't make it more complicated. It removes a bit of the weight on my own shoulder. I don't have to be the only person doing that, but I can help. And it worked quite well for, now I've been doing, I don't know, 4 or 5 different employers since I left as a developer, and it worked well in each situation. I think each of those missions went really well. Like
I can imagine, of course. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So you're always talking about you're ancient. You're not that old yet.
No,
but I remember the time when I was as old as you, and then I thought, yeah, I'm old. But okay.
No, but I'm kidding. But when you're saying I'm a developer, it's not usual at 46.
I know quite some good developers at 46.
Yeah.
Or even older.
Yeah, I see a lot of people going management. Well, I did. And the coming back is, I don't know many people around me that have been doing the two jobs.
I know some. Yeah, that's why what I like talking about with you. I know some of them, and they're super happy where they are now.
Oh yeah,
they've been CTO. They're super happy where they are now, but they don't want to talk about it. So I'm very glad that you wanted to talk about it.
I'm always up to talk about it, but I'm happy too. That's clear.
Yeah. Are you happy where you are now?
Yeah, I think it's really working well. It works clearly well for me. While it was also an objective of mine was for my work to take a bit of less space in my life, not in terms of hours, because I didn't do a lot of overtime, a lot of time. I did a bit, but not a lot. But it's like that I wanted to be able to close my laptop and say, no, the rest is going for tomorrow. And I don't need to think about it. And again, it's what I said, it's easier about technical things than it is about, all this machine, these cogs, these little things to move and to make work. That stay in the back of my mind a lot. So
I think that's also a bit about that's also a bit experience, because I remember when I was developer at 25 or something, I was still working at night about those technical issues because I wasn't sure that I would be able to solve them. Now I know that I will be able to solve them tomorrow. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
that's a bit of stress.
That's a big experience. On my side, also the time when I did it is because I wanted to, and now I didn't want to do it anymore for a lot of reasons. I have kids, I have a situation. I want to be able to have time for something else than working, even if I still work, generally speaking. I really like what I do, but I wanted a bit more space, and I felt that wasn't going to happen by being a CTO of a relatively fast-paced company. It's a job that never gets calm. When people tell me, it's a bit difficult for now, but it's okay, I'll manage until it gets quieter. It will never get quieter. So you need to find a way that works, assuming this is the normal speed, because those kind of companies and all doesn't have quiet time. So if what you do is not sustainable, you need to change what you do right now because you're going to explode in the months you can. If you're running on short term, then it's not going to work. I don't see those kind of companies getting quieter, and if it goes, it's generally an extremely red flag.
All the sales is going down and nothing happens.
Yeah, but I have to tell colleague, we have too much work for the number we are. But to be honest, there is one of two options, and the other is worse. It's like the only thing is that now we discuss together and we find a way so that doesn't kill us and doesn't make us doing overtime or doing stress. But the fact that there is a bit too much compared to what we have is the normal. It's just the way. It's the only way I know. And again, the alternative is much worse. No, it's okay, we don't have too much work for you. Okay, that's going to go well, I guess.
All right. So, I think you're okay where you are now. How do you see the future for yourself?
Watching around with my colleagues. No, the fun part is that obviously one thing I didn't touch upon is that if you're in a team and that you have you can manage with your manager easily and you have understanding about the teamwork, there is a force in the universe that's going to push you toward getting a team lead again. Like there is something which is inevitable saying, yeah, like at some point you'll face people didn't tell me like that, but you're the more experienced, the one that know how to make work the team. Why are you not making the team work? You know, like it sounds very like a privileging. Yeah, you do it. I'm happy to help, but I don't. And so in a way, with one of my customers, I'm actually in a team lead situation again. I have a CTO, but a title, but that's more on paper because it goes well with like on the external, on the external of the company. It's good to have someone with that title, whatever that represents. So, and so obviously I'm part on the path already on that direction. I don't know. One of the options I can see is that I realize that I think my best value is being to do the part with early stage startup from first developer to 5 or 10. And then I think that on my side, I lose interest. And also you need someone more operational, more organized, where I'm more the emergency, uncertain environment kind of person. I work, I'm not afraid of things I don't know, and I work relatively well, not having most of the element I should have to decide. So that's something I'm not really, doesn't mean I don't want to have them, but I don't generally, and that's okay. And so that maybe I need to do that part and possibly leave when it's done and do it again somewhere else. That's not an issue. Like I know where I put my limit now. I can do a bit of technical team lead because it's something I like. I'm still an extrovert that didn't change. So there is a part about working together that I really like. One other part I really want to do more is to do a bit of advice to companies that have someone in the position, but who is, for example, creating or growing their first team. I did that a couple of times now. I can give you pointers, not super big, incredible things, but we can discuss together. I can provide a sparring partner or sounding board. Generally to people that you know that I think it's the reason you create the software camp 10 powers that being a CTO is a lonely position. Generally, the only person you can talk to about what's happening are your CEO or your board of, and there's things you cannot talk to them because you're doing a different job. And even if they are smart and understanding, it's just not their job. So having someone eventually aside to be able to talk, even rant once in a while, that's cool. I think that can provide value. It's not super big. I think it makes sense. So, and it's something I did for a couple of companies, and I like that. So yeah, it's pretty funny to do. But the whole IC is really fun. I like it. Like this combination of value, a bit of stakeholder coding. I like that. I could do that. Yeah, I could see myself continue doing that a lot.
Yeah, maybe what I sometimes also see is that once the organizational stuff becomes too much, that people start hiring a VP engineering on something, so that you can concentrate a bit more on the technical stuff and okay, where are we going technically, and have the conversation with the rest of the company about strategic value and everything. But really managing the team is then a job for somebody else. Is that something that you would like?
Yeah, at some point I was thinking about that even at my whole Blue Square, saying, okay, can I split what I do and eventually find someone there? I think when you're in a situation where you were there for a while, you were the person growing the team, it's complicated. Doesn't say it couldn't happen. There's a lot of things there, and to how to manage to get someone there without playing godmother, because well, you were there for a lot of things without. So that could be.
Of course.
No, I think the reason I didn't pursue that is also that there was this thing about back to technical things, and I wasn't going to get back to technical things, even if someone take care of the the team. On a basis, it was going to continue being like high level issue. And yeah, I don't know what to say, but I remember telling a colleague at some point that what was happening in the management meeting was much less boring and much more boring and much less secret than what they thought, like that we were actually communicating most of the things we were doing, and that a lot of running a company is a lot of nitty-gritty details, and like, it was not us doing big PowerPoint with big vision every week. It was more like we were mostly steering the company on a very practical way. So it was this is much less strategic that we may think of. It's important, but it's not in a way.
Yeah, you get a point there. Maybe we forget that, but how developers look at those management meetings, it's for them it's a black box almost. Eh? there are 5 people entering that black box, and they come out, and nobody tells anything, and it's something.
Yeah, and I understand it. There's something I learned there, and when here I'm doing again a bit of technical team lead, I'm putting a weekly post about something I started to call everything that happened in development this week and that I know about. I'm supposed to know mostly, and I pretty much dump what I see about how the company and the team is doing there. And this is pretty much everything but something very personal. Like if someone feeling bad, I'm not putting it that there, obviously. But like, except something super personal, it's everything. And I don't see any reason to not doing that. And it's on paper, which we are not talking about that in technical meeting. I'm not doing team meeting where I start with a PowerPoint. What I have to say is written already. You can read it whenever you want. And then we use the meeting to do something more interesting. So there are things that I learned there about being actually a bit more open, realizing what percentage of a discussion cannot be open, not open everyone in the room, because that's unpractical. But I mean, open about this is how we get there. You may disagree, but that's okay. That's at minimum, you know, how we come to doing that. I see very, very little downside to that.
That's right.
Getting more, and I love the written form. So on that part, I'm all too like a fan. It's incredible what you can put with some paragraph of text. People can search it, they can skim what they want, they can read the part that's interesting. That's much more efficient than talking.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Thank you very much, Martin. I think I covered everything I wanted to ask you. I feel I can talk with you for a couple more hours, but okay, make it too broad.
The challenge is me is to make me stop, not to make me talk when I'm speaking. So like, as a self-conscious kind of things. But no, but I'm happy to. Yeah, you said you know more people about that, but I think I'm getting really attached to this idea that management should be the end of it, and that it's again coming back to the pendulum and the ladder. It's really about if you play things such as tree or something like that, you stay relevant in each area because you're not a manager for too long and getting completely out of touch. After 3 years, you're not completely burned about the people side yet, which means so that's probably something that's very sane for people like me that like both side of the job. Yeah, so it's something I could take some lesson from.
I don't think it general. I don't think it's a general given that if you are a developer and you become a CTO, that you will burn out on it. There are also, I know also people who have been developers, very technical people who have become CTO and doing all the engineering stuff, the engineering management stuff that you mentioned, and are very happy with it because they like to work with those people and they get a lot of energy from them. It's very personal, I think.
I say again, it's for people that like both, because a bit of the problem in my situation is that I joke about that almost in the blog post saying, problem is that if I'm there as an IC, if I do my job badly, well, the project crash, I leave, probably I get fired. If I do it well, we hire more people, and maybe I'm a team leader or CTO again. And so I have a job that by nature is ephemeral. It's going to disappear, either because it's going to remove or it's going to transform into something else. So it's again, in startups, which is my context of work, it's a position that mostly exists by definition for a couple of years. Then, or you need to find someone which wants the status and the position and the work and say, you do it, whether I'm more or as able as you, doesn't matter. You do it because you want it and I don't. And then we do a tag team. Okay. That I didn't find a young, ambitious colleague to do that yet.
Yeah, that's right. All right, great. Maybe the last question, is there anything else you want to share with the CTOs that are listening to this?
Not especially, I think. No, I think we covered not most what I think, but a lot of things there. So no, I think that is anything that can get the job less lonely, I think is good. And indeed, getting whether it's advisor, whether the external stuff, whether it's peer talking of this kind of stuff. I realized that without the kind of formal things you set in place, I still have a WhatsApp with former colleagues, and we talk, and it's not big, but I think it helps once in a while being able to say, I know you understand the situation I'm in, and you're not in my company, so it's not problematic to share. And so that helps some days. It's nice to get a lunch with people doing the same kind of job somewhere else we learn something, we hunt a bit, and then life is a bit better going. So no, thanks a lot. Anyway, I hope it was useful for you and your audience.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. Thank you for being so open, taking the time. I think a lot of CTOs can start reflecting on their own job now at the moment. And okay, I hope we added some value for their life also. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Tom hier nog even. Fijn dat je naar de Software Captains podcast geluisterd hebt. Wil je nog meer horen van CTO's en met hen in gesprek gaan? Wil je andere CTO's jouw vragen en uitdagingen voorleggen? Word dan lid van CTO Club. Maandelijks komen CTO's bij elkaar om kennis en ervaring met elkaar uit te wisselen. Kijk snel op ctoclub.be.